Chapter 6 I'm scared of saying no. F. Fear. Unless you have a 1, 5, and 10-year plan for success that you are incredibly focused on, it's all too easy to dip slip into the habit of saying yes to every opportunity and every request that comes your way. And what's wrong with that? I hear you say. Nothing, as long as you intend to stick around on this planet for about 250 years. The Catherine Wheel Effect. I have seen so many fables telling that people struggle to get the result they want, and only because they have a habit of saying yes to everything. By doing this, you can end up creating the Catherine Wheel Effect. You do a bit over here and a bit over there, and then another bit over there, and then something else over here. And none of it really has any real momentum or power. The Catherine wheel looks pretty, but it does not do a lot of damage to your fence paws. Imagine if you took that Catherine wheel off and aimed it at your fence, what would happen then? You would likely end up with a hole in your fence, right? Focus is needed. Saying no is necessary, but how do you work out what you say no to? And many of us fear saying no because we wonder, what will people think if I don't do it? We are a team, and how does this make me look if I don't do this? And what about the can you just ers? They always happen to have the tiniest of favors that need doing, usually on Friday around 5:45 p.m. And how can you say no to them? Won't that damage your career and your success? There are, in fact, many times that the successful person learns to say no, but we are going to look at why we have learned the power of that two-letter word and how well is it powerful and how they say it. First, let's look at the impact that the fear of saying no can have on your success. When you don't say no to anyone, it can damage your chance of winning, of achieving success, as well as getting the result you want. And when you constantly say yes to everyone, you can become overloaded and, as we learned in chapter 5, becoming overburdened and damage more than just your success. It can damage your health too, and it can impact on your loved ones and every aspect of your life. And therefore, if you want to increase your chance of success, you need to deal with the fear of saying no. So, ask yourself this. It's your choice if you write your thoughts down or just take a moment to think about this. And by constantly saying yes, what am I agreeing to? And this could include, but it's not limited to, I'm agreeing to not meeting my own deadlines. I'm agreeing to working a longer day. I'm agreeing to feeling tired and stressed. I'm agreeing to not having time to cook an evening meal or read to my children or watch TV with my partner. I'm agreeing to being too tired to read and falling asleep after the first 3 sentences. I'm agreeing to feeling resentful of that person who always gets me to finish the work because they cannot do the job. I'm agreeing to hating that person because they get paid more than me and get no recognition. And I'm agreeing to feeling my success is less important than other people around me. I'm agreeing to fail. Wow, doesn't it read like a scary list? And all for a 2-letter word, and yet it's a 2-letter word that so many people struggle to use for fear of the repercussions. And the problem with this little tiny word is that it's one of the first words we learned when we come into the world, and we are taught to say hello, goodbye, mommy, daddy, please, thank you, yes, and no. And the one we say the most is no, no, and no. We didn't want to go to bed, we didn't want to eat our grains, we didn't want to wash behind our ears, we didn't want to go to school, we didn't want to clean our shoes, we didn't want to clean our rooms. So, as we have grown up, naturally it's become a word we are not overly keen on, and no wonder we do everything in our power to stay well away from it, and we quickly say yes just to get away from that word. Our brains are so clever. They store everything. Even if you don't think of something, your brain has it stored away in the subconscious, so all the time you have been told no are stored in your mind, and I wouldn't mind guessing that you have more happy memories attached to the word yes than to the no's. So it's surprising that we often don't appreciate how this natural fear is eating away at your change of success. Let's start by looking at the can you just yours. They seem harmless, right? and they tend to be really nice people because the can you just ears tend to be good with the people and know how to make things happen, and while you are helping them out, they are able to get on what they want to achieve. And remember, in chapter 5 we talk about how to achieve success. You need to ask for help, and well, the can you just ears have no issue asking for help, and they know that while you do their dog's body work, they can be getting on with looking awesome and rocketing their success and keeping their goals on track. And as this happens over time, you will start to feel resentful. You start to recognize why they are pointing or walking towards you with a smile on their face, because you know what's coming next. And they can you just ears always smile and thank you. However, smile and thank you is not going to take you up the career later, is it? I know, just like, however, you don't need to say the actual word. Examples and exercises. One gentleman I worked with was employed in a large department where no one answered their phones. Why? Because they know this gentleman was so conscientious that he would do anything to make the company look good. And why bother answering your phone if that guy will do it? And we can get on with the real work and ignore our phones, and he ended up looking like he was slacking. He missed deadlines on target, and when we worked together, he showed he had a massive fear of ignoring the phones in case it impacted on the company. And yes, he was conscientious, however, when we raised his awareness of what he was agreeing to and how badly he was respected in the department and how little change he had of promotions compared to his work colleagues, suddenly the phones look like a public enemy number one, and we work out how to reframe his view of the phones. And I'm happy to say the gentleman is in questions now has a team of 40 plus, and when you say yes all the time, this is the damage you took hold by creating to your own success. Exercise number 1, can you just strategies? Lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. So let's look at the tool and techniques you will need to say no in the nicest possible way before I help you create a strategy to deal with the can you just ers. And I want to share you with a beautiful quote from your business friend's husband, David Patrick, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Always said, lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. It's good to remember this silently in your head when dealing with can you just ers for a number of reasons. Number 1, be constantly helping the can you just ers. You are taking away their opportunity to learn new skills and their ability to prioritize and to organize. Do they need to learn these skills? Is it a case that they are not very good at these tasks or don't enjoy them, or just see you as someone that is an easy target or better at it than them? Number 2, if you are constantly helping a can you just then how is anyone going to know that the person weakness, and how will they know that this person needs support to grow, and there are other people that need assistance like this within the company? And perhaps there are those that lack the communication skill that a can you just has to get the job done and so are quietly struggling, and this could mean that the organization is missing out an opportunity to improve profitability and productivity because you are in effect hiding an issue that is impacting on the company as a whole. Number 3, if you are being made to feel uncomfortable and put you on, it's not unlikely the other people are too. Strong-willed people have a habit of getting what they want because they can use communication powerfully. Learning these tools will help you learn new strategies to help you be a powerful communicator and strong-willed person that can say no to. And knowing this information means that you are able to work out a strategy to deal with these people in a way that creates win-win relationships. I feel it is important when creating success that you create relationships that enable both parties to walk away feeling they got a fair deal, a 50-50 split. Professional relationship need to be a two-way street with both parties benefiting and delivering instead of just giving. And we will talk more about win-win relationship in a chapter 8, but needless to say, they are a critical component to winning at work, and this is the case of the can you just ers who you struggle to say no to. You understand the impact that always saying yes can have on your success. And now it's time to work out how to say no to them in a way that is respectful and gets you to the result you want. And think about the person that always asks for a small favor, a quick job that will only take you a couple of minutes. What are the ways you could handle it? Firstly, consider the kind of person you are. If you are a shy, quiet person, it's not good suggesting that you just tell them to go away. And first, that would be rude. And second, it would be unlikely to win you at any friends on the road to success. And the third, it would take you so far out of your comfort zone, it would never happen. So what would work for you? What is your natural style and how do you deal with difficult situations? Some people always say yes because it's easier. However, is it really easy? But always saying yes, what are you agreeing to? Let's learn some strategy to help you feel confident about saying no without having to say the word no. And you might find that for the first time you still end up doing the favor, however, even if you don't get the result you want, and that is still a success because you had a go at saying no. Each time you will get better at it and ask yourself questions like, what did I do? What do I feel work? Where do I feel I could improve? And what do I feel I could have worked better? And what questions could I have asked them that would have put the responsibility back on them? And what would have made me feel more confident? It's time we try. Failure is not a fail unless we never have another go. And so practice, practice, and practice. And let's look at some phrases to use and how you could make them work for you. And remember, they have got to feel natural to you. To struggle with this, perhaps another time you can sit down and work through a few of this with you so you can get the hang of it. And I do have a deadline of 5 p.m. Or maybe you can use this. I would have loved to help. However, I have a deadline of 5 p.m. and next time just give me a call in the morning and we can work on this together. We would need to clear about 45 minutes. You know, I used to hate this too, but I found by doing A, B, and C, I can now clear this in less than an hour. And would you like me to teach you? I have a meeting with so and so next week. Shall we discuss it with them then and get you some support to learn the system better? Everything you need is already on this page of the website, and because this comes up a lot, anything you cannot find, just let me know and together we can plan a time to rewrite it. And does that sound good? I am happy to do this for you and on this occasion. And what I will do is copy in our manager so they are aware that this is proving an issue for us both and impacting on our work. Notice none of this example used the word no. Notice how they all give the ownership of the work back to the can you just er. Notice how you are offering to be of assistance while making it clear that you are just as busy as them with your own career and success plan and you are both equally important, right? And also how you are returning the conversation back to them like lobbing a ball over the net in tennis. It is now their responsibility to do something with it and not yours. Exercise 2, the power of words. Remember not to use words that place blame. It's all too easy to be thinking like this. Lazy, they always ask me to do this. I know they shouldn't have been standing around drinking coffee. I'm not saying late so they can go down the pub again. It's their problem. I'm fed up with making you look good and you earn more than me and never tell the boss I helped you. So your thoughts in check, and in that way your negative language is not likely to slip into the conversation, creating blame risk in their hackles, and they may try to pull rank or make you feel guilty. It is also good not to not ask questions to start with why, and far better to start with questions that start with what. Because what? Questions are less likely to create guilt, and try it for yourself. Why did you do that? What are the reasons you did that? Why will you not be able to help? What are the reasons you won't be able to help? Why didn't you get this done yesterday? Why are the reasons this has been left until today? See, how questions like this constantly help shift the responsibility and the ownership of the issue back onto the can you just ask. Questions can be really powerful and can create a space to let the other party take ownership and what is going on. And I know this because I have coached many people and helped them do just that and aim to keep the negativity out of the conversation, and there will be very little reason to use the word now. Exercise number 3, repercussions game. Let's play the repercussions game, shall we? Let's play the what if game to distraction. Remember, by exposing a fear for how silly and unlikely it is, we are able to start to bring it back to a realistic and manageable place, and you are far more likely to be able to deal with a fear if it feels smaller. Fears are allowed to grow in size and green big scary teeth dripping with a venom when you allow them to infect your mind. So instead of allowing a fear to grow, let's start chipping away at it and bring it down to size, shall we? What if I say no and the boss sacks me? What if I say no and they all tell everyone in the country I'm stupid to do it? And what if I say no and my work colleague punches me? What if I say no and they cry? What if I say no and throw everything on my desk on the floor? What if I say no and they throw themselves on the floor and throw a tantrum like a toddler, screaming that I'm a big fat meanie head? How far-fetched can you make your questions? Another reason we are fearful of saying no is because we may worry about what people may think of us. You have got to look like a team player, right? You have got to look capable of everything, right? However, when you are asked to do anything and everything, ask yourself, does this fit into my goals? Does this fit into my success plans? Ask yourself, who sets my goals, and are you working with someone to achieve them? And if so, what do they say? Have you asked them what their viewpoints is? Exercise number 4, your natural niche style. Yeah, this is a great exercise to remember for other fears as well as the fear of saying no. I want you to think of somewhere that you are comfortable, not your sofa on a Sunday night. I mean, in your professional career, somewhere you feel you naturally shine, where things seems to flow, somewhere where you know are good and you can achieve. What do you notice? Maybe it is in the office at your desk where you can easily multitask. What do you do well naturally? And don't tell me you don't, because everyone does something really well, and you may have to listen to yourself, take heart and delve a bit deeper than usual, and you may have to stop being dismissive of your talent. I know you can come up with a place where you naturally feel like you fit perfectly and perform brilliantly. It doesn't matter where it is. What matters is what you notice. Is it the way you are feeling? Is it what you can see? Is it what you are doing? Is it what you can hear? Are you alone and do you need equipment? Are you in the office or in front of a laptop? Do you have a pen in hand? Really notice it in your own way. For some, this is easy and they can visualize it and see every aspect of it as if they were there. If that's not you, flick through your diary and look at what you have been doing over the last few months and what stands out as a great day, and just float with it. And why was that? By doing this exercise, you will be able to understand more about the kind of person you are. By knowing more about the person you are, what matters to you, what you like, and what your natural style is, you will be able to replicate these skills again and again, and all is the things you notice, whether you choose to physically write them down or list them in your head. And by working with yourself and not against your natural style, you will be able to power up your result. And this is good say, but it's not restricted to. I was happy, I was relaxed, I was organized, the phone was turned off, I was alone, I had read on a list, I had gone to bed early in the night before, I had to receive a good news of the first person in the office. And what made it into your list? And now before you work out your strategy for saying no, write out this list. Print it and put it in your diary, on your desk, on your screensaver. Maybe frame it or put it on a fridge magnet on your fridge. I don't mind where you put it, but it needs to be your visual way of making things happen. And here is an example for you. You like for instance, to be the office early, in a quiet office, away from the chatty people, with a list of work for the day, and knowing that you have already cleared the important work that had to be in for Mercedes, even though the deadline is Friday, because otherwise it plays on your mind. And that way you have brain space to concentrate on new things. If you want to achieve more, knowing in your natural style and can really help. So please take a few moments to do this. Your professional success could profit immensely. Sometimes we surprise ourselves. For instance, Writing this book, I learned I like a part of tea. It takes discipline to write a book, and I have not experienced a part of a tea since my aunt used to berate me that my tea was so weak it was a fortnight. Knowing your natural style could really help you understand where you feel more confident and comfortable to say it's unacceptable that you are choosing to manipulate my time, my working success. In this way, exciting, isn't it? A for action. I think the most powerful reason to change the amount of time you say yes to everyone is to ask yourself these questions every time someone asks you if you can do something for them. And it is this. If you keep saying yes to everyone, what are you agreeing to? How does everyone else's yes impact on your success? And this is not about working within acceptable parameters. This is about talking to the right people to find out how you create a better way of working, raise awareness to the right people that this is happening, and is there a better way that we can do this? Maybe you have a better way in mind, in which case this could be your chance to really shine and step above the precipice and get in for all the right reasons. And yes, that could be scary, but it could also be your chance to shine and really win outward. Do you feel you know the solution? Could your solution increase productivity for the company and not just yourself and your colleagues? Act it. Another way to deal with the fear of saying no is to look at who is really good at saying no. And now here is saying you don't expect to hear from me, however I will say it anyway. I have always admired politicians for their ability to say no. They can skirt around that word no like a prima ballerina and wrap you in a word so sweetly and you cannot even remember the question that was first asked. Okay, so we have become far more savvy to that. However, just listen to a politician say no. Who do you know that says no to something in such a way that everyone walks away feeling like they got the result they wanted, and yet it was actually only one person that got what they wanted? What attributes do they have? How do they talk? How do they stand? How do they speak? Do they speak fast or slow? And do they have a high voice or low one? And how do make people feel? Find people that you admire for their ability to communicate in a way that makes everyone feel special and they still get the result they want. By observing other people that are expert at getting on with their own work and keeping focused on their own goals, you will find ways to stay dedicated to your own goals to ensure you have the ability to say no when needed. L for results. Ultimately, everyone is responsible for their own success. By learning to say no, you are helping others to take the responsibility for their own success, and you are also not preventing other people from learning new skills to succeed and work at their own success. And lastly, on this subject, if you want to master the skill of saying no, then master the skill of thinking yes. If you are deciding to say no to things because they leave you overburdened, moving away from your own goals and success, consider these questions. What would you like to say yes to, and what are the opportunities you would like, and who in the office would you love to ask for your help? Who would you happily give an hour of your time to so that you could showcase how good you could be for their business and success, and who would you love to work with? Remember, if you don't power up your thoughts with what you want to achieve, your brain will naturally revert into a more negative stage. Our brains are a muscle, and as with all muscle, if you don't use them, you lose them. So power up your thoughts when it comes to saying no to the things that you stand in the way of your success, and know what you would love to say yes to. Chapter 7. I'm petrified of public speaking. As you may be learning with this book, not all fears make themselves brutally known. Some hide in our minds and attack our success, and thus they have to be found, to be dealt with, and almost snipped out of existence. Anyone I have ever worked with a fear of public speaking will tell me that this is not the case with the fear of public speaking. A fear of public speaking is not subtle. It does not hide. It is the fear. A fear of public speaking can at the least make you nervous and feel like you are going to forget what you want to say, and at its worst physically close up your throat, make you sweat, and your hands shake. Your heart can feel like it's pounding so hard it's going to come out of your chest, and you feel like the pressure in your head means your head is going to explode too. I speak here not just from years of helping people there with their fear of public speaking. I speak from my own fear of it too. Years ago, I had such a fear of public speaking the first time I was asked to speak at the professional development day for a business owner for 20 minutes that I was just literally in the restroom within I could collapse and receive medical assistance, and I know that to be successful, I had to overcome the fear. And someone that sounded like me said, "Yes, I would love to speak at your big event in front of 50 plus people," and yet inside I was praying my plant would explode and I could escape this conversation and take down my website and all the marketing and hide in Bolivia for the rest of my life. So, I know that what fear is like. I also know how to fix it. You could still be questioning why you need to bother fixing this fear. And I worked with one businesswoman who had to successfully maneuver herself out of speaking judgment for 20 years. However, as we look at this fear, she realized the impact that it had on her career could have been catastrophic. Public speaking is not all standing in front of 50 people in a room the size of stadium and getting the message across that makes the audience cheer and cry out your rock. Sometimes public speaking is about being able to get your message across in a smaller group of possibly only 4 or 5 people, but being able to successfully control the group so that you are not spoken over and dismissed and made to feel like your opinion didn't matter. Have any of this happened to you? Have you ever been in a group environment and felt like what you had to say didn't get heard? Have you left a conversation and thought, I wish I had said that? Have you got tongue-tied and sat down thinking, what did I say? Have you looked at the other people in the room and thought, I wish you would shut up for a minute and let me talk? Have you thought, I know what I want to say, it's just I cannot say that to you? If any of these have ever happened to you, or you have your own thoughts on speaking up, then this chapter is going to help you overcome the fear of speaking anywhere and for any occasion. It's a powerful point to remember that this could ever spill into every aspect of your life. I want a new car and are nervous of telling the salesman that what you really want and not want they want to sell you, and want to get your family to listen to what you have to say, and want to get heard at the school PDA. I want to read that the skill of the effective communication was by far the most powerful impactor on your success, and I would agree. The case study in this chapter had a massive impact on this woman's career from the moment she dealt with it, and she had put up with the fear for 20 years. And this work can manifest itself in so many ways. You can end up looking like the person that always say no to the speaking slot and not working, or to change to the person at work and don't ask them. They won't do it. And what's that doing to your career, to your success? Does that make you look like a team player and someone that can be relied on, someone that can rise to any challenge? If someone is scared of presenting to 10 colleges, can we trust that person to deal with our biggest client? To bring in the big contract, are you bringing an element of doubt on your abilities to those around you because you won't do it, or don't do it with style and confidence? Take a moment to ask yourself if you do shy away from speaking up and presenting, and ask yourself what impact is it having on your success. And sometimes public speaking is just about having the confidence to say your own opinion. In this chapter we will look at the physical, the emotional, and the psychological things you can do to be able to successfully public speak in any environment. Examples and exercises. Those businesswomen who I briefly mentioned above had swerved and dived out of the way of ever speaking in judgment for 20 years, and now she was faced with a speaking in judgment she could not pass a member of staff, and they really wanted to her. This woman was incredibly talented, professional, and exceptionally well respected in her profession, and had managed to hide her public speaking for fear for years, and this time it was not speaking in judgment for 50 people at work. This was a national conference introducing a piece of work on a stage with a microphone, As a first-time speaker, this was hardly a gentle introduction to public speaking, and the absolute terror it created in her meant that she had to deal with it, and she was it as an immovable obstacle in the way of her success, and so she called me. We worked together to understand what public speaking was a fear of hers, and how can someone so well respected within her industry fear standing up and introducing something. She had been asked to do this. They wanted her by looking at the fact that of the 300 people in the room, they wanted to just her, and she was able to see that she was in fact their expert of choice. We worked on building her self-confidence by considering the fact that although she was in a room full of her peers, they were not, as she believed, looking down their noses at her. They were not waiting for her to fail. Yes, we played the what if game, and they wanted to hear what she had to say, and she was their expert of choice. And the biggest lesson she learned was that she had to accept that she was an expert, that 300 people respected her as one, and we worked physically, emotionally, and physiologically on this. Okay, so yes, it was still scary, and the thing we fear is it does not go just because you asked it to. We created tools and technique to get her through the speaking judgment, and I also suggested she text me just before she went on. I texted her back reminding her how awesome she was, not my opinion I hesitated to add, but that of the 300 people in her audience, and she did it. One physical thing we created for her was that felt very comfortable on the telephone, so we practiced in our session imagining that the microphone was in fact a telephone. Using visual clues can really help when you want you to achieve something new, especially when fear is playing a big part in your head, and visual clues can help override the brain's natural response. Within an hour of that businesswoman being on stage doing something she has shied away from for 20 years, I got a text to say, not only did I do it, I have agreed to speak at 2 other engagements, and now just think what that could do for her career. When it comes to your own fear of public speaking, if you have explored how it manifests itself, how does it make you feel? Really explore that feeling. How bad is it? If you could quantify it, what would that look like? How would you describe it? Exercise number 1, the what if game. Use the negative spiral to really understand the impact the public speaking fear has on your success, and what action does it stop you from taking. What effect does that have on you personally and professionally? What does that mean you tell yourself or think about yourself? What's the best outcomes I could imagine, regardless of time, money, or skill restraints? What's the worst outcomes I could imagine? Think silly and far-fetched here and let your mind go crazy. Remember, you lose your home, your job, in life in a cave of earth, mud, and rainwater, all because you ask for what you want. What if game in chapter 2? That's silly. Now, it's a good idea to play the what if game in 2 ways. By doing this, you are able to start challenging your natural style of thinking, and that means your mind opens up to a new way of thinking. Great, right? Just remember, if our case study can change a way of thinking that was heavily ingrained for 20 years in one session, you can in a chapter. A for actions. I read a great piece of research by Dana Carney, Amy Cuddy, and Andy Yap that say that if you stood like a superhero, you could physically change the way you acted, and you could change your success rate. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, shoulders back, think all Wonder Woman or Batman. There's enough of them to choose one you like, as if you have kicked the baddie's butt and saved the world from distraction, and not one hair is out of place. Okay, so there is not needs much on your right cheek, and but they hey, all in a day's work for a superhero, right? Chest out, head up, proud, confident, and capable of anything. And it was said that if you stood like that, you could, in fact, be more successful, perform better, get better results. As with so many great studies within the year, a study came along that disproved the first study, and then others went on to prove it was true again. Whether the study is true or not, there is a lot to be said about the way something makes us feel. Try it for a moment. Wherever you are right now, round your shoulders and tilt forward. Frown and look down and pull your chin down to your chest and don't make eye contact. Breathe in sharp breaths and imagine how that would feel if you were presenting. Now sit upright, shoulder back, head back, smile, make eye contact, chest up, look up, breathe, deep breath, and imagine how that would feel if you were about to speak publicly. And take it one step further and imagine if you added to the equation the way you were feeling. Try it. Do the negative pose and think negatively and see how that feels. Then do the negative pose and think positively. And now do the positive pose and think negatively. And finally do the positive pose and think positively. Can you see some of the action you need to take? And you need to stand with purpose, not with a poise. And again, that's where the side of me and the purpose comes up, because it makes you laugh and take away a second of the fear that public speaking creates. What feels like a good way to stand to you? Before we look at the words of the emotional and physiological things we can do to help you feel confident in dealing with this fear, you need to learn to stand in a way that says I'm ready for action. You will need to practice this. A really good way to do this is to stand in an audience will be a bit easier and want it, so practice standing in front of the mirror and striking different poses and what makes you feel comfortable. A lot of people worry about what to do with their hands, and politicians get hours of coaching on how to ensure they keep their palms up so they look open and honest, and rather than forcing their hands down and are forcing their opinion upon you. So if you find your hands become out of control, let them clasp together naturally. And when I was a bridesmaid many years ago, the photographer said that the bucket should end up lower halfway down our legs so that the middle of our arm was over our hip. If you do this pose with your hands naturally clasped, not gripped together, and then you will be able to still move your hands around, although the movement will be subtler and controlled. Should I stand still or move around? To answer this is a good idea to think of who am I talking to. Is your audience expecting a fast-paced talk, a professional talk, a relaxed conversation, an in-depth monologue, a discussion? By thinking about the expectation of your audience, you can start to consider what kind of behavior you think they are going to expect from you. If you are talking to a room full of people that want to be motivated and inspired, then it's fine to be someone that moves around the room. On the other hand, if you want to appear professional and gain the attention of your audience, maybe giving your audience brain age by trying to keep up with your athletic is not the best idea. So work out the natural balance between standing still and movement. Movement also stops your audience becoming bored. Remember, with the greatest will in the world, the greatest creator, still know that an audience has a limited attention span. The important point to remember in the actions point of this chapter is that to override and eradicate this fear, you need to learn new skills. You need to learn new technique, and not all fears will be overridden with just a belief. To really banish them for good, you need to learn new skills to accompany your mindset, and here I am sharing a few tools and physical technique, and however there are far more learned out there than myself to share ideas on how to be an expert speaker. The greatest book I read was given to me by a great speaker, Colin McLean. He had worked with the BBC and many aspiring great business leader and TV presenter to help them become a great public speakers. And the book in the question is called Lend Me Your Ears by Max Atkinson. Well worth a read on how to be a first-class public speaker. Colin beautifully summed up public speaking for me, and take into account that I had experienced a term-induced fear of public speaking. So, to speak before a great subject as Colin McLean brought many a fear back to them. Be handed a copy of Max Atkinson's book, but said Colin dropped my shoulder and made me feel like a chastised little girl who's just been told must do better. In his perfect toned voice, Colin said, "On the contrary, Mindy, you are someone that can appreciate the true meaning, to find your own style and be proud of it." He was right. Above all else, a few years earlier, when Colin had first heard me speak, I had cornered him afterwards, and being someone always keen to learn and grow, had been desperate to learn from such a great man. How can I improve, Colin? What did I do wrong? I would beg to know, and his reply had infuriated me. Nothing. It was perfect, beautifully matched to your passion and enthusiasm and motivation for business success of others. As I recall, I had been quite disgruntled at the time at this response. However, now I can appreciate that what Colin was saying is very true. If you have a fear of the public speaking style, you will know you have overcome that hurdle and massive obstacle in the road to your success when you have a natural style that you don't constantly second guess. And yes, you will always be looking to improve, add new content, learn new technique, trial new ideas, and however you will trust that you are capable and have a style that is all your own. Here are a few more tools to add to your action to override the public speaking fear. Practice a lot. And don't just practice from the start. I once saw a man stand on the stage with an impeccable notes only to drop said notes, and then spend the first 5 minutes apologizing for the dropped notes and practice from the middle to the end, and then start and practice from the end to the middle. In this way, if you get heckled, read on for a few top tips on hecklers, or I need to prove I am as clever as you. You are okay to pick up from where you left off, and you will feel comfortable to do so, and don't feel rigid in what you are saying. Must be key engagements like a fluidity, but don't practice too much. I hear the saying practice make practice. However, yeah, if you have a fear of public speaking, you can work yourself back into fear as you practice. Remember the other elements of this chapter, the tools that are empowering up your mindset. If you are a visual person and are going to rely on visual aids, then rehearse with this too. However, over rehearsing will be like that moment before an exam, when you end up standing with the person who seems to have a cramp and studied for harder than anyone else, and makes you panic, and then you have not done enough and that you don't need. Do not read from notes. You are an expert in your field. You have been asked to speak because of that. It's something I always repeat to someone with a fear of public speaking. A photographer is not asked to speak on the intricacies of brain surgeries to a room full of brain surgeons. One of the reasons we feel fear when with public speaking is because we fear what people are thinking. And however, for now, just remember you have been asked to speak because you know what you are talking about. People are not trying to catch you out. So please remember this. People actually want to hear what you have to say. They start on your side. The poor guy who dropped his notes, and there he was on the stage feeling awful at what he didn't understand or couldn't appreciate because he was too mortified. We were all feeling for him and rooting for him to do well, so much so that I went up and told him and rooting him for to do well, so much so that I went up and told him so afterwards. However, when you read from notes, you take away a little of your professionalism and try it. Stand in front of a mirror and deliver your speech with and without a paper. You will note your delivery changes, the way you stand, what you do with your hands, even the way you breathe, and so please get rid of the paper. The only time you want to read from the paper is if you want to reinforce something. For example, it's not just me saying this. Here is Dr. John's opinion on this too, or if you are sharing a testimonial that someone has given of you. Remember, you have every right to be in that room. You are the expert of choice. In chapter 10, we will get your mind under control on what you should be thinking, and for now, just accept that it is as important as the skill you learn, the way you stand. Do not apologize if you get something wrong. Remember, only you know what you were going to say, and I have been at the event when the speaker has veered so far off of the title of the talk, and yet the audience has still loved it. Unless you need to, don't use jargon. Jargon risks alternating your audience. It's used by people who want to look clever, and it's only really expected in certain arena, and you will know which ones they are, and which leads me on to hecklers. Hecklers may ask clever questions or awkward questions. I have had ones who are annoyed. It's not them on stage. I have had ones that are annoyed that the government have got their funds and they have got to listen to these women tell them how to grow their business. And when you have to present in a hostile environment, remember it's not your fault. That is their agenda, not yours. You were asked to speak, they were not, and still their problem. Still not your, and you are still awesome. If anything as scary as this, that is, it means you are the organizer's expert of choice. And remember from the chapter 4, there is a fine line between arrogance and confidence. So accept a quiet inner confidence that says, I'm the expert they choose. With that in mind, you still have the person with their nose out of joint not to deal with, and getting embroiled in a debate is not fair on the rest of your audience and not professional. At all times, you want to ask yourself, what is the result I want from the speaking engagement? It is highly likely you want to talk away, looking professional and someone that can be relied on, right? So with that in mind, here are some great things to say, and yes, a couple I have actually used to great effect. That is a good point. I have got 5 minutes at the end, so let's explore that more when we have time, as we need to cover a lot in the next half hour. I really appreciate you highlighting that point. That is similar to the issue that so many clients are experiencing. So, if you would like to take a seat, I can show you how we have worked to solve it for them, and you can tell me at the end if you feel these ideas would work for you on a no money and no time budget. I know I would get one person in a room that would disagree and tell me why you feel you are more like a strip hog-nosed skunk than a human. That person turned into a client the same day. That is a great question. I will need to look into that for you, and may I get your card so that I can't? You raise a good point. However, it's important we explain why you do this before we explain how to, and thank you for bringing this to the room so early in the day's training. Aim not to use the words like a try and but or questions start with a why. For instance, let's try to do this, shall we? Becomes, let's aim to prove this, shall we? Try is wishy-washy. You want to reinforce your professionalism and confidence. Why are you doing it like that? Becomes, what are the reasons that you are doing it like that? Why sentence and blamed, and in a group environment, you don't want to add the blame. You want to enable the opportunity to explore and get results. And by being the nice person, that means that you will be like for your style of presenting too. The final action that you need to remember is to remember to breathe. I know that sounds daft, but if you listen to yourself as a scared public speaker, you will realize that you don't breathe a great deal. Hence, the short breath, heart racing, and lightheadedness. Put your hand on your stomach and practice making your hand go up and down. If you are breathing from your chest, then you are breathing too shallowly and causing yourself stress. Also, allow yourself a few pauses. Yeah, pauses are good for two reasons. Firstly, they allow you to breathe, and secondly, they enable you to add emphasis to certain words within your presentation. They also enable your audience to think about what you have said, then trial it to see where you should add a pause. And when I have run master classes on this and have asked people to put long pauses in their presentation, a few seconds can feel like a lifetime, but it's really nice opportunity for your audience to process information and reflect, and second are not as long as you think, so try it and see. The traditional 60-second elevator pitch is a good example of this. In 60 seconds you can say so much, and yet a few great pauses can be just as powerful within those precious 60 seconds. If you network, it's a great opportunity to overcome your public speaking fear and trial the actions and exercise within this chapter until you find your natural style. R for results. And the reason you need to trial the tools and strategy in this chapter is because we want to see this fear obliterated, so that no matter what comes up in your professional life, you are not looking over your shoulder worrying about the time someone says, you can do a presentation on that, right? As we have seen, some fears are sneaky and some fears are in your face, and some fears are fixed with a thought and some need to be deferred. I would say that to fix this fear, start with the belief that you can fix it, and you will, and then move on to looking at the skill and tools that will reinforce it for you. And it's completed with practice and action. This fear is shrunk to a non-entity by doing it again and again so that you feel your confidence grow, and don't make the assumption that every time you will be perfect. However, do make the assumption that every time you are growing and learning from the experience and improving your performance. I can give you so many wonderful examples of the results here. The businesswoman who told me that I would never get her speaking to 50 business owners who within a short time texted me to say, I've just spoke to a room full of business owners with a microphone and I got new business out of it. And the business owner who practiced what they would say and how they would say it gained a dream contract. One they wouldn't have a dream of going for because, well, it involved a table of people in front of them and that business owner doing all the talking. What would they say? Remember, to get the result in public speaking, there is an element of skill. I think the story that will stick with me always underneath for an element of skill is Dear MacArthur Wheeler, and I share this short, funny but true story in the hope it will also stick with you to empower your success too. MacArthur Wheeler read out lemon juice could be used to have you write secret letters. If you wrote with lemon juice, it couldn't be seen unless you had a UV light. He reasoned that if that was true, then if he smeared lemon juice over his face, and then he would be unable to be seen. And if he couldn't be seen, then he could successfully rob his local bank. And like any sensible bank robber, he decided to test his theory by taking a selfie. Unfortunately, being the mid-90s, alas, there was not a great deal of technology around, so he used his trusted Polaroid camera that enabled him to take an instant picture. And however, the film in the camera was damaged, and his image didn't come out, and so MacArthur reasoned he was invisible. MacArthur robbed 2 banks in one day. When he was arrested later the night, he retorted, but I wore the juice. So remember, don't be a MacArthur Wheeler if you want to be successful in public speaking. If you want to eradicate that fear, you won't do it just by reading the chapter and winging it. Remember, by not taking action, what are you agreeing to, and think back to negative spiral and the impact that this has on your success at work and how it could potentially manifest further and therefore affecting your success. Is that enough to make you take action on this? Chapter 8, I hate phoning people. F for fear. There are over 6.8 billion phones in the world, so how can phoning people be fear? And when I work with the people on their success, it never creates to amaze me that when you discuss people's plan of action, the way to achieve ultimate success, the way to get the result, to get the deal signed, they are going to send an email. Not arrange a meeting, not pick up the phone and talk to them, and not pop in and see them. I know we live in a fast-paced world where everyone wants everything yesterday, and I know we live in a world where we want proof we did our bit of the job. So yours a paper trail as long as a marathon. But seriously, an email? You trust an email to deliver your success? Communication for success is a little like a fashion. It goes around and around. And years ago, if you wanted success, you would write a letter. And then everyone realized that this was a good idea, and business were set up and would write the letter for you. And the next thing you knew, your doormat was covered in not letters but junk mail. And years later, the World Wide Web was invented and word processes turned into computer, and we could talk to people anywhere. So we did. Suddenly, we could keep people updated on anything, and we could look ultra efficient and organized and show we care with the email. But hang on, now there is a plethora of companies that will write emails for you, and our inboxes are full of not emails but junk mail, and as we don't call it a junk mail, we call it spam. Are you still trusting email to deliver your success? It scares me how many people send one email and expect it to get to the person they want it to, and it will magically get answer above everything else that has appeared in their email, their inbox, as well as everything else that has appeared on that person's desk and in their diary. And yet you don't use that phone you have welded to your side. For what reasons? You don't know what to say. What if you say the wrong thing? What if they are busy? What if you annoy them? What if they don't want what you're offering. The list is quite extensive as to why you shouldn't ring them, right? And so you hide it behind email, because let's be honest, if you don't actually pick up the phone, then you don't actually know, and it's like you are delaying the inevitable. You can lie to yourself that you are not going to get fired or lose this opportunity if you don't pick the phone. If you don't, in your mind, there is a parallel universe where it might just have worked out. It's a scourge of the 21st century communication success, and it becomes a fear to pick up the phone, and it could be seriously publicly damaging your success. I have been at networking event and I have shivered in horror to overhear a conversation where people seem in love with each other's companies, and they finish the conversation with, "I will email you to arrange a date to meet up." Sorry, what? You will email to arrange a date? What's wrong with arranging it now? While we are in the same room. It's mind-blowingly annoying. And the fact is that it's becoming increasingly obvious to me that communication needs to be taught in school, because if you want to success, communication skills are still the biggest requirement of your life, and yet they are not taught as a lesson. Do you understand the difference between one type of sight over the phone and another? I do, but then that's because I'm fascinated by non-verbal communication. You too could be picking up on this. If you pick up the phone, people think that on the phone they can hide their emotions. However, it doesn't take a lot of practice to be able to pick up on the subtle clues that are given away by people on the phone, and that could seriously power up your phone call success, and that could make you feel a lot more confident, and that in turn could really kick the fear spot. I have even had people email me to want to arrange a time to phone me so that we can arrange the Skype. So while you are still laughing at the absurdness of that, ask yourself if you pick up the phone and ask for what you want, and not phone people shouting, "Show me the money." I mean, phone people to ask confidently for that meeting to discuss how your company can help them. Ask, "Why did you not reply to our email regarding the contract?" Ask, "Why did I not get a job? Could I get some feedback, please?" Ask for 5 minutes to look at the reasons why it's a no, so you can learn from them and get a yes. Ask for a testimonial and one another person who would love what we do, please. And ask for the opportunity to discuss if you could explore how we could work together, because you feel you have something you could offer. All of the above are scary beyond words, and I completely understand that. And all of the above I have assisted people to do. However, if you don't deal with the fear of picking up the phone and asking your own questions and dealing with your own fear, what are you agreeing to? What impact is it having on your success? If, for example, an exercise, when I have asked people why they hide behind email, quite often the reply is, "But people like you are really busy." Here is an example of the reply. "Me? You are right, I am, which means I don't get along in the office to answer emails. So what do you think that means for you?" Phone fearer, that you get a lot of email and could have missed mine. Me? Which means what? Phone fearer, you don't know what I want to talk to you about. Me, which means what? Phone fearer, I have got to pick up the phone, haven't I? As of the moment, their shoulders drop for two reasons. Firstly, because they realize that they really do have to pick up the phone, and secondly, because they realize that they have been missing out on so many opportunities. If I want something and don't leave it to change and hope or an email will get through, I phone that person and I don't leave a message. Another business owner phoned, and I thought that maybe they had an ex-murderer outside their house trying to get in and chop them up into little bits. I was thinking at that moment, and don't for me, I am miles away. Phone for superhero. In actual fact, this business owner was stressed on the phone because we had worked together on creating a strategy to grow their business, and one of the action was to phone past client and ask them how they were getting on. Did they have any current needs? Could they get a testimonial for their new website? And did they know anyone that they would recommend them to? Easy, right? Except, although it sounds easy enough to phone a company that this business owner had enjoyed and a good relationship with for years, it put genuine fear into them. And so they phoned me. They said, I realized I was going to hide behind email again, and I thought I know what Mindy will have to say about that. I have got to phone Mindy and find out how to deal with this. In these exercises, I will share with you what I thought that business owner, which meant I got another sequely phone call, only this time with a sheer excitement because it had worked. Exercise 1. Do not. The first exercise to do are more about things to remember, and firstly, if you don't be someone that sends 17 emails and never phones someone. Own your business. One business owner I know I did. Don't play email ping pong. The first lesson I want you to learn is that if you are looping the conversation back and forth, that is a good sign. If someone was not interested, then most humans are quite capable of playing with the politician. You skirt around the real question, the real conversation, and the thing you want to say. You might be capable of speaking for ages without actually saying anything. People who are scared of something will often do this. It's a warning sign for me that something is addressing when someone does not answer the question I have asked them, but bats around it for ages. I tend to say, thank you for being a great politician. However, is there any change? We may get back into the actual question I asked. Look out for it as a good sign that someone does not want to answer or deal with what is in front of them, and for any number of reactions. So if they have not knocked the conversation out of the court and dismiss you with the thanks but no thanks, go away email lobbying is a good sign to stop sending an endless email. Do not just pick up the phone and hope for the best. You wouldn't walk into the presentation that could rocket your success and just wing it, would you? So don't wing it on the phone. In this chapter, we are going to look at some skill and your mindset to help you achieve the real result. I would like to add that there are people that have devoted their whole lives to just the skill picking up the phone, and it is becoming such a nice market that one businessman is so special he only trains dental practice staff on how to communicate on the phone. And thus I would say that the fear of picking up the phone is perfectly normal as you grow up through your life. Most people were taught how to talk, how to walk, how to eat, how to speak, how to ride a bike, how to drive a car, and however did anyone teach you how to use the phone effectively? Someone may have told you how to answer the phone, but not much past that. Schools know our interview technique, however, the ability to speak on the phone that needs surgically removing from teens at mealtime, and not so much. I would like you to remember back to the earlier chapter and be nice to yourself here, and this is not your fault. This is a natural fear that has been allowed to escalate over the years, especially when you consider that so many other forms of communication have come along that mean that we can hide even more. We have learned some of the don'ts you need to appreciate. However, before you look at the exercise to get a new powerful way to utilize the phone to enable your success, do you accept that the phone has not been your best friend to success? And think for a minute of times in your professional life when phoning people could have been more satisfactory, and being able to spot missed opportunity is really important. You cannot change something that is wrong until you can accept that it exists. Before we look at what to say, which is obviously the hardest part for so many, I want you to think about why you fear pick up the phone. And the biggest reason we fear picking up the phone has its root in the same location as so many other fear, and that starts in your confidence level. And that is why this week started by looking at the level of confidence that you have. If you don't pick up the phone, then your brain is able to play nasty trick on you and reinforce every bad thought in your mind about you and your ability, your skills, your success rate, your chance of growth, even your chance of winning at work. Because somewhere in your subconscious brain there are negative beliefs being unchallenged about the outcome of what will happen if you pick up the phone. Now is your chance to deal with them. The what if game is a good way of doing this. However, it's only by doing it that you will grow the confidence level, and I still get that this is a scary course of action, and therefore let's rehearse. At no time do I mean write the script. I personally don't like script. I feel like they are no good because the 21st century business environment is too savvy to so many of the ploys of the past, and the sales speech, the call with a hard sell, they are old hat, unpleasant, and not good for success. On the other hand, the professional phone call, the win-win relationship created over the phone in the respectful way. Understand how busy the other party is and values that person's time, and that is a wondrous thing and could seriously impact on your success for the better. So here are some questions you need to answer before you pick up the phone, and they are part of your rehearsals, because picking up the phone is going to be a live knockout performance, a 5-star show, and you are the star. What do I want? What is the end result that you would like to achieve? Be realistic. If, for instance, you want a new job, new contract, or new customer, it's not prudent to have the attitude of show me the money. It's better to ask for the opportunity to talk about the next step. You only want a 5 minutes meeting, for instance, to discuss how you could be benefit to the other party, what they want. What matters to the other party, think about what they are going to want to hear, and it needs to be more along the lines of what it is in it for them, and rather than what you want. You will know what you want. How are you going to sell the benefit of the result of the conversation having the result you want? And think about what problems the other party may have. Are they mega busy, stressed, overworked? Probably not a good idea to ask for an hour of their time. Then is it worth it in a way that makes the other party think, this sounds like a no-brainer? What do I want to feel? How do I want to feel when I put the phone down? Happy, thrilled, excited, scared because the new door to your career success just opened? By imagining how it feels now, you can really power up the way you feel before the conversation even starts. And when you know the I, they, and feel the answer, it can strengthen your confidence to pick up the phone, and with the other exercise will help you move onto the right action to be success on the phone. And however, before you do, one more aspect of the fear of picking up the phone that really kills your success is that tiny little word again. How can one word so small because so much grief to so many people? The no word, one of the reasons you don't pick up the phone is for fear of the word now. What if they say no? Hurry, right? No. They don't want our company. No, they don't want to employ me. No, they don't want to please an order. No, they don't want to talk about it. But here are a few exercises I want you to do before you move onto action to help you break the no barrier. Number one, not all no's are bad. No's are a chance to learn and to grow. By finding out why someone says no, you are able to learn what made you say no. So ask for people's reason for the no, and not in a wailing sob of why don't you want me, but in a more professional, I would appreciate some feedback on your reason for saying no to enable me to learn how to get a yes. Practice what your response to a no could be. It's better to prepare for a no what feels comfortable to say. Number two, toughen up. No's happened, accept that, and no's are good. When successful people look back through their life, they are able to say things like, if I had not got shocked from that job, I will never have taken that opportunity and end up being the success I am today. Reframe the no's into a, this is an opportunity for me to disguise. I have been through some truly shocking experiences in my professional life in the past. However, without them, I would not be the businesswoman I am today, and no's and a failure are massive opportunities, so toughen up. No's are part of the process of success. You need them to success. Number three, the more no's you get, the closer you are to your success. Imagine if I told you you are going to make the 10 phone calls and the first 5 all said no. Imagine how dejected you would be about picking up the phone the 6th time. And what about if the first 5 all said yes? How excited you would be about picking up the phone the 6th time? It's about your perception, and people that love the phone, you know this. Learn that those mean you are getting closer to your yes. Number 4, it's their loss, not yours. As hard as this one is to accept, when someone says no, you have things to learn from the no, and you can and will learn them. However, it is their loss and someone else's gain. With this new exercise, you are able to acquire new ways of thinking around your attitude to the word now. For actions, we have looked up the fear and have looked at some exercises to help you pick up the phone, and it's also going to help you to build confidence to have some core skills too. So here are my top tips for phone success. G for gatekeepers. I'm often asked how to deal with the gatekeeper. I know who I want to speak to, but I just cannot get past their PA. Well, the first thing to do is stop trying to. That gatekeeper is a person, human, with emotion and needs and a feeling, and it's part of why. Take a bit to look after the person you are trying to speak to. It was put eloquently to me by my boss many years ago, and that if I answer that one, it potentially could cost the company work for the staff for a whole day. And you are paid to enable me to do my job, protect me. I was keen on getting paid, so I protected him And it was not nice having people speak rudely to me and basically be saying, look, I don't want you, I want your boss. So imagine if you stop trying to get past this person, and imagine if you respected this person. Treat every person you speak to with the utmost respect, and this should spill over into every aspect of your professional life. If you are kind and respectful to the person who answered the phone, do you think you are more likely to get a chance of finding and how to move the conversation toward? Ask questions like, I appreciate I will not be able to speak with to Mrs. X today. Could you tell me the best way to communicate an idea I have had that could save our company $10,000 a year on our expenses account? And tell Mrs. X it's a research I did on my own time. And now any PA that values their job will want to impress and keep their boss happy, right? Even if they don't show it them. What you suggest they do, and what is the change they may give it a 2 minutes of their time to see if it's more genre or if it's really useful to the company. Or this, hello, may I whom I'm speaking to, please? Getting a name is the code for many reasons. Unfortunately, it says I don't want to get past you. You are the person that matters to me. Also, when you follow up, it means you can start the conversation with the person's name. Never forget whose ear the gatekeepers has. Even if you fail, still be polite and respectful at all times. O for opening. A big mistake many people make when they pick up in the phone is they say, is now a good time to talk, or are you busy? You just give the person the perfect out of the conversation. It's far better to ask a question like, yeah, and again, remember to practice this so you'll find a question that feels natural to you, like, is now a good time to speak, or shall I call back at 2:30 today, or perhaps tomorrow at 10 p.m.? This is good for the following reason. 1. You are appreciating that this person is busy and respecting the time by getting permission to talk. Number 2, you are making them aware that they are not going to be so lucky as to get you out of conversation without you calling back. And bonus, number 3, you have told them that it will be imminent, and you are making it look like their choice as to when the conversation will be. A for acting and answer phones. Firstly, when it comes to answer phones, they are the equivalent of the phone's email. Are you really going to trust this big opportunity to get lost in a phone's email? I have heard successful business owners say, don't bother leaving me an answer phone message, I won't listen to it, so why would you take that risk with your success? If you cannot get through the full person you wish to speak to a handful of times, you really have to leave the message, pre-plan it, and know what you want to say, and know what your desired outcome is, and don't just wing it and have the attitude of, it's fine, I will just leave my name and number and they will call me back message. Where is the incentive for them to call you back in that? And secondly, the way you act on the phone is really important. Stand, don't sit. And impact on your performance. Remember, we want a standing ovation, not a mediocre performance. You want to act like you are supposed to be on that phone with that person. Hi, Aunt. How are you? In business, it's all too often that we forget how we know this person on the end of the phone. So act like you belong. And along with acting, act like yourself. Don't try and be someone else on the phone. It will seep out, and it tends to show up in the conversation as a gut instinct to third parties that makes people question if they are really interested. And that's the last thing you want to happen. And so stay neutral and true to yourself. Remembering to breathe will help here too. And a pause in a conversation can feel really scary. However, it's good for you to enable you to keep calm, and it's good for the person on the other end of the line to be able to process what you are saying. Not only that, a lot of people dislike silences, and so they are likely to fill it with the talking tos, which means they are likely to agree to what you want to get you off the phone quicker. L for listen. It's not just your breathing you need to listen to. How do they sound? Do they sound stressed or relaxed? Is there the sound of a keyboard being tapped? Are they running to the depth of driving a car? And do you feel that you have their undivided attention? Do you think they are stressed? Do you think they are interested? By being a more aware listener, you will be able to assess how the conversation is progressing. Secret language is powerful on the phone, and clients who think they can hide on the phone quickly realize they cannot. Our body language seeps into the way we communicate. Look out for the sign in your recipient and be aware of their choice of language. You can use their own style of language and even use some of their words back in the conversation. By doing this, you showcase that they are being listened to. For instance, I appreciate you have been working with A&P solution, and it's great that they are able to deliver the services to you. under budget each month, and does it matter to you that you learn about a new development in this field to further cut costs? Is that something that A and P solution are able to do? As for study, before you even pick up the phone to really fight the fear, know who you are phoning. Research them. Take a moment to research them online. What is the company vision and the mission statement? Names are very important, and company more have pages showcasing their stuff, and take the time to study before you call. And if you take these actions, you may have noticed they spell out the acronym goals. You should be aiming for relationship, not just any kind of relationship, but win-win, respectful relationship, because you don't know who this person on the end of the phone knows. You cannot dictate when someone is ready to do business with you or give you that opportunity. However, you can have a say in whom they choose to give that opportunity to. By building win-win respectful relationship and effectively following up, you will be able to deal with your fear on the phone and make it a distant memory. As for results, when you master this chapter, I would love to see the look on your face the first time you put the phone down and smile and thinking, wow, I did it. In fact, get in touch on social media and tell me. I've seen people fix this and ask themselves, how could I let this fear and stand in the way of my success for so long? That can be disheartening. However, don't let it be. It's the result you want to focus on. By doing that, you will be able to give yourself even more confidence to tackle more fear and boost your confidence and self-belief even further, which will be great for your success rate. Chapter 9. I don't want to look stupid. F. Fear. The fear of looking stupid has haunted us since we were little, and there will be a time at some point in everyone's past when they can remember being embarrassed. Ask your friends on social media when they were last embarrassed, and they will be able to regale you with a great history that years later is a good for a run the table chuckle over drinks, but at the time is mortifying. We have all got wine, but this goes beyond that. The fear of not wanting to look stupid can really damage your success. It can be a defining factor in your career. It can be what separates you from the other people in your profession, and what rockets your success and railroads yours. Have you ever sat in a meeting and thought that slide is wrong and said nothing? You wanted to ask a question but feared to. Spend years in the office with someone you don't know the name of. Struggle with something because you don't want to ask the person to handle those types of things. They always look so busy. Been in a meeting and lost the thread of the conversation and been too embarrassed to say anything, so just sat there. Not made eye contact for fear of being asked to comment. If any of the above are true for you, then there is a good chance that the fear of looking stupid is impacting on you. The place I see this happening the most impacting on success is when I'm training. People striving for more success have given up their time to work with me and small group of other like-minded individuals, and it's not until the refreshment break that this person will sidle forward and simply ask me a question like a secret IGN on convert operation. And usually it will be a question that relates to someone much earlier in the day, and that impact on how they have interpreted the whole session up until this moment. That is why I tell people there is no such a thing as a stupid question. If you don't know the answer to something, that is the obstacle to your success. Before we tackle that fear, we have to be able to appreciate that it is a fear and what is impact it has on success, and you cannot fix something until you know it exists, right? Above are a few examples of how the fear can manifest. Can you imagine how it could feel for you? And do you feel confident to step out of your comfort zone and get the answer you need? And this is what this chapter looks at. The confidence to override the fear that says, I cannot do that, I will look stupid. If it's allowed to fester for long enough, it can escalate and it can influence the way you think other people see you too. And that is why the next chapter is I cannot stop scrutinizing what people think, and they link beautifully together. Although the current chapter can stand alone, the really powerful of success. Reading the chapters together gives you a powerful toolkit, and so firstly, we will work on building the eternal confidence to act in the way that empowers your self-reliance and override the fear to get the answer you need for success. And then in the next chapter, we will deal with the way you feel about what the other people think about you and the constant barrage of thought that could be impacting on you. It's an odd one of fear asking questions. When we were little, everything was a questions. Why is the sky blue? Why are mints minty? Why is the grass green? Why is water wet? And why is the night dark? Endless. We never feared question as young children. In fact, we realized in the endless question, it enabled us to form our world. It was not just the question that were answered that helped us from our world. The person we asked, the amount of time that was given to us helped us feel a certain way too. As we have grown up, it changes. We learned that endless questions are considered impolite. People will perceive us in a different way if we constantly ask questions. One day, in the workplace, once you are over the new stage, you are assumed to know everything you need to know. People muddle on through and thinking things like, I didn't like to trouble them. They always look so busy. It's not appropriate to ask for them for help. I think everyone else knows how to do that, so it's assumed I know too. And yet, unless you take yourself out of your comfort zone, you are agreeing to remain in the dark, trapped in your comfort zone, agreeing to an obstacle to success. Another reason that people fear speaking up and risking looking stupid is because when you are looking to win at work, it's a tough game, right? As someone also eloquently put it to me, it's a war out there. Everyone is after the same job. On the paper, we all look the same, so don't dare to risk showing any sign of weakness. They would stab you in the back if the opportunity came up. I cannot show any flaw. That would be their opportunity to attack. And someone told me that if there are a number of dogs living together and one dog becomes very old and poorly, even though it has been the top dog, the strongest dog will fight for supremacy and shove the weak older alpha out, essentially sending it away to die. I get the idea too that many people feel that by risking asking for what you need and risking a looking stupid, you are fearful that some alpha is going to come and snap at your heels until you get out that office and never darken their doorsteps ever again. I know my analogy probably make you say, don't be so tough, Mindy. However, in essence, when we don't ask for what we need, that is what we are doing. We push people on those evil pedestals where they will be ready to attack at the first sign of weakness. In actual fact, in my experience, never have I come across so many people prepare to give other people a little bit of their time to mentor, coach, and support them to get the result that they want. You just need to have a gut to ask for it, and that is a big as it's a devious slice after fear that can hide away and just hold you back up. And you know how they say give 110%. Whether you agree that it is possible to give more than 100% or not, the point is that you could be missing out on the winning edge because of this sly fear. In the exercise of this chapter, we will look at how to get out of this comfort zone to traps you, whether you know you want to carefully creep out or jump so far you cannot see it anymore. Chapter 10. I cannot stop scrutinizing what people are thinking. F. Fear. The fear of what another person is thinking slips into our minds all the time, and sometimes harmlessly, but sometimes with a knock-on effect that the major change of winning at work. At its worst, I have seen it create a level of procrastination that stops a person from taking any action at all, to wander from one action to another with no real purpose or focus. The 21st century is a world where there is a literally camera in every room, in our phones, our laptops, our cars, at the end of our street, in our offices, and every aspect of our life. And these people document, comment, and share everything and anything, so you can be private to another person's viewpoint at any time of day, of night, on any subject you can imagine. Basically, anyone's thoughts can be practically projected into your brain. No wonder we can feel like we can hear their thoughts all of the time. If you are looking to succeed at work, it's highly likely you are aiming to grow an effective and well-managed network too. And to do that, you need to know people, and you do this by getting out there and communicating with people, and that in itself has its own glut of fears, skills, mindset needed to be handled, managed, and dealt with to succeed. The downside of learning all of that and knowing the benefit of an effective network is the fear of what they could all know about you. What if they were all talking about you? I wonder what Mr. X really thinks of me. I wonder if they think I got this job because they wanted to make the company look good or because I was really the right person for the job. The things with ourselves are expanded into a million other negative thoughts when we imagine what everyone else might be thinking too. This fear can manifest itself in a far more than just thought. It can ripple through every aspect of your life and cause repercussion that stops you taking action and lead to procrastination and not even make you question your own judgment and ability. It's almost as if all these voices are given permission to take up residence in your head. Examples and exercises. I met one person looking to get to the top who's not going to look back, who had grand ambition, who had already achieved so much at a young age, and this person suddenly seemed to stagnate and freeze solid in their career. Just as they were stepping forward to the next level, which looked to be very exciting and hold a lot of possibility, when we worked together, they were very honest about what their family and friends kept saying to them. Was this really what you want at this stage in your life? You have achieved so much. This just does not seem to make sense to us. So then you go back into the company you were working for, and this person realized the constant talk wherever they went was beginning to affect their mindset. And not just their mindset, as we talked through the issue they found they were facing, they were able to see where it was impacting on their actions too. And I think the scariest impact you can see of other people's thoughts on yourself is the way that they can impact on the action you take and the way you speak to other people. It literally can make you speak in a different way and get a different result. Think about that for a moment. Instead of being in a meeting and being like a healthy equation that you prepare and that you know will work so that you feel comfortable and confident in what you will say and do to get the result you want, you walk in, fumble, and fall over your words, and you forget what you wanted to say and what you want to get and end up feeling like a fool who missed the point of the meeting. Another way that I have seen this fear impact on a person's ability to succeed is when it comes to action. However, it does not manifest itself as a fear. It manifests itself as procrastination. I know someone who was so worried about what one person was thinking that it literally stopped them taking action on their business. It stopped them in their track. How could they confront this person? How could they deal with this person? What would they say? It wired around in their head at night, stopping them from sleeping, and it blocked their brains ability to think during the working day, so they couldn't concentrate on anything else either, and that was the reason they came to me, because they knew something was wrong. And however, they didn't know what, but working together, we were able to see what their negative circle was. Like, not taking any action on this issue, worrying about the issue, head full of scrutinizing what the person is thinking about me, getting behind and having more emails and correspondence to deal with regarding this, and many more worry about this and escalating concern and more ridiculous thoughts about what they are thinking, than not taking any action on this issue. Yeah, become a circle. The good news is that by becoming aware of the process that they were allowing to happen, they were able to deal with it really fast. Unlike fears like a public speaking or a phone call fear, where some genuine skills need to be learned as well as changing your mindset and your belief, this fear can be dealt with just by dealing with what you think. And I know the word just is a bit of stretch because it is something you may have done for a long time. However, that is the joy about the mindset. With the right support and the right actions, and you can change it. Exercise 1: Power Goals 2. The first exercise I want you to do could change your life forever, and that is not a flippant or exaggeration. That is it from the experience of the people I have worked with, and I have always told my clients, this is not therapy, this is coaching. Let's find out what's wrong and sort it, and when you learn the true power of this exercise, it can really help you in so many fears. Have you ever spotted a person across a crowded room and thought, you are the one for me, and not been able to see anyone else? Or have you ever been driving along and only one car is catching your eye because it's your dream car? It's the constant ability to be so focused and intent on your aim target that nothing else comes into view, and that includes someone else's thoughts. Setting goals that are so focused and clear you feel like you have already achieved them can really help. And let's look at how that is achieved. I could talk about creating SMIRT, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time measurable goals. However, even that does not go far enough. To stay so focused on that, you are like a runaway train, never losing momentum. You need to do the following. Number 1, know that the goal is aligned to your core values and you know how to check that, right? Number 2, write down everything you could do to achieve that goal. And here is the key: regardless of time constraints, skill gaps, money shortage, reality gaps, the fact that you don't know the the said movie star, the fact that unicorns don't exist. Don't let anything get sidetracked. Write anything and everything down, and when you allow your creative brain to go wild with any ideas that pop into your head, then your brain can really explore the depth of your subconscious for ideas that might be lurking in there. And remember, if you have been so busy stressing about what everyone else is thinking, your brain has no space to think of creative and clever ideas about how to achieve what you really want. And this exercise frees your mind quite literally. So if you are constantly worrying about what the person at work thinks of you, write down what you want to be achieving and not what you want to be thinking about the person. And this is an internal, not an external goal. And does that person factor in your goal? Will it be that person's boss? If so, how? When? If that person is not directly related to that goal, do not add them to your long list of possibilities to achieve your goal. Number 3, when you have written a long list of what you could do, write a second page of what you could do, and by writing for longer and letting your brain become totally immersed in this exercise, it will create more ideas, and that is where the stronger ideas are. The first ideas you write down are the ones that your mind has been churning around in your head and keeping you awake at night. It's only by really getting to grips with the absorbed and draft ideas that you are able to embrace the idea that could be powerful. And for instance, it may sound mad to talk about the unicorns, magic, or blowing up phones to get a bit of peace and quiet. However, from mad ideas, you can create sensible one. No, it's not realistic to blow up all the phones in the office. However, it is realistic to use some deadening headphones, or to get to work early, or to put your phone on silent, isn't it? Can you see why it is important to write more? And this can be tricky, so stick with it. If you find it hard to be creative and it's not your natural state, here are some suggestions to take you deeper into creative cool ideas. I could quit work in here and set up my own business, even though I would need millions in funding to headhunt the top 5 people in the industry and need to magically gain the skills on the top negotiators in the world to get the contracts we would need. I could become the world's first self-employed person doing this, even though the industry we work in don't allow this. I would use the magic power to make all the change, and many industries have had change thrust upon them. It happened because someone turned around and said, yes, but why? And let your creative mind ask the yes, but why. Number 4, when you have a really long list, allow your brain to look through the crazy ideas and feel that what feels interesting, and the tough ones may make you laugh. However, they could actually have grains of good ideas in them, and things do not stay the same. Remember that, because when we make assumption about what people are thinking, it can impact on the action we take. So by creating clear goals that are internal and not based on someone else but ourselves, we are able to stay focused on them with your mind on the ones that interest you. Come up with a list of a maximum of 3. Remember, too many goals is the bad as too much thoughts. It causes lack of action because we can become overwhelmed. Number 5, for each goal, know what you could do to achieve the end result and keep the crazy ideas in there, because they can be the ones that can spur real ideas to surface from the deeper level of subconsciousness. Number 6, of the idea you have created, what actions will you take? What actions will you take? And number 7, the biggest issue I see in the most goals is the assumption you are making. What assumption are you making around this goal? Do you assume that the boss just wants you to turn up the work and do your job and not make suggestion? He wouldn't be interested in my idea to save the company 50% on HR costs. Do you assume that the amazing inspirational business speaker you just heard does not need an accountant, so you won't tell them about how you could help them? Yeah, have you assumed that the person looking across the room at you in the networking event is giving you a dirty look and hates you, or that they are envious of you and are desperate to know how you do it? How I do it? How I do what? I was thinking the same about you. Number 8, assumptions are bigger obstacle to success, and we will tackle them in more detail in the next chapter. In the chapter, if you don't know, don't assume. When it comes to what people are thinking, that is their concern, not yours. Stay focused on your work goals. Number 9, stay focused. If you create a clearly defined goal and course of action that you constantly and effectively work on, it eradicating an assumptions that cause you to procrastinate and waver from positive thought and strong conviction, then you will be able to stay focused. However, the most successful people will tell you that every success has a good few dollops of stress and failure, and what will you do? To stay focused, remember that you need to know on a good day how to deal with a bad day, and remember the people, the places, the words, and the actions that will keep you in a positive mindset to keep you focused. Exercise number 2, the bubble game. Another exercise that is powerful to remember when you over scrutinize other people's thoughts is that other people are actually as busy with their own thoughts as you are with yours, and I can prove this. I have done a lot of training in speaking engagement and run public speaking fears and skills, and one of the areas it is feared the most is at a networking event. In a room full of professionals, I will point out the person sat furthest to the left of me and say, right now this person is the most frightened in the room, and everyone snickers. Then I explain that when it comes to public speaking, and you would tell everyone that we are all going to do our elevator pitches, and we are going to start on the right of the room. The person on the left of the room is thinking, oh no, I'm lost. This basically means they won't hear what any of you are saying, because they have got at least half an hour to be worried about public speaking and what they are going to say. And how do I know this? Because that used to be me, and that always gets a laugh because it's so true. When I have asked the audience, what kind of thing do you find yourself thinking when you are the person sat in the audience instead of on the stage, and people have shared, I'm glad it's not me up there. I could never do that. If it looks like the microphone is coming near me, I'm going to pretend I need to take a call. I cannot think straight because I know it's me next. I would rather be in the coffin at the funeral than at the front giving the eulogy. So when you take that into the context of scrutinizing what people think, and you have been asked to think, and your mind is awash with they think I'm rubbish, they are looking at the spot on my nose, I bet they are wondering why I have been asked to do this instead of my mistakes. In factual, they are all thinking, wow, what a belief, it's not me up there. Imagine if you play the bubble game the next time and fear was creeping into your head, and you imagine little speech bubbles appearing above people's head. What would really be in them? I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but none of us are the important in other people's heads that they are actually thinking about us all today. And so what would be in other people's speech bubbles magically appearing above their heads? I wonder what's for the... Did I lock the back door? I don't think I turned my phone on silent. That could be embarrassing. That feels like a hole in my thighs. I better simply check that before I stand up. I think that is Mr. Smith over there. I hear there is a position going in his department. I ought to go and have a chat with him. This is offer. Yeah, and another stuff. Exercise 3, write it, rant it, bend it. Lastly, when it comes to scrutinizing what people are thinking, there will be occasion when you need to do something about it. Not all thoughts in someone else's head can be ignored. It could be your gut instinct needs listening to, and that what you think is being said, and that is impacting on your ability to win at work. This final exercise is called write it, run it, bend it. I love the stories I have read about the great people, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Winston Churchill, and so many others. I also get saddened by the fact that so many people share their quotes on social media. However, they do not share their action, and you see all the great moments in time came about by what someone did rather than what they said. And they may have started with what they thought, but it was their actions that matter. It was their action that changed history, not what came out of their mouths. That is important to remember for the write it, run in a minute exercise. Think what you think is being said. How is it impacting on you? How is it impacting on your success? I don't want you to confront this person in the real world. And I want you to literally write everything you can about what you think it is doing to you and what you think it is causing to happen to your life, your success, and your future. And I'll get really angry about it. How dare they? How dare they damage your success? How dare they be so outrageous and so impact on what you want in life? This is disgusting, this is abhorrent, and this is a travesty of justice. You still feel that way? they are at risk of impacting on your ability to win at work. And this is one of the rare occasions where you will have to confront all the challenge at thought and not just in your mind. You may have to consider that you challenge this person in real life. As scary as this can be, it doesn't bring closure one way or the other. It does allow you to create space for your goals, to clear the air and to know where you stand. In my experience, how does it feel now? Do you feel this still wrong and disrespected? And in this stage, one of the two things should happen. Either you will realize that regardless of what is going on in that person's head, you have complete control of what is going on in your head, and as such you can stay focused on your career and goals and not allow someone else's thoughts to impact on your gain. In which case you can be in everything you wrote down and thought. They are their thoughts, not yours, and as you don't have their experience, life skills, or values, how could that person be impacting on your goals? You still feel that they are at risk of impacting on your ability to win at work, and this is one of the rare occasions where you will have to confront and challenge a thought, and not just in your mind. You may have to consider challenging this person in real life. As scary as this can be, it does not bring it closer one way or the other. It does not allow you to create a space for your goals, to clear the air and to know where you stand. In my experience, structuring what you wish to say without emotion but with clarity and a calm manner will enable you to get your message across. And it leads to both parties knowing where they stand, and I have seen this lead to the other party feeling threatened and making the challenger's life rather than difficult. I have seen the scrutinizing stop immediately because it was a complete misunderstanding, and I have seen people that end up collaborating on projects because it turns out they have so much in common, and it's without doubt a scary prospect. However, winning at work does necessitate challenging times when you have to really raise your game and do things that scare you. If you apply the same rules of create a powerful focus goal, have the right level of self-confidence, and believe that you can succeed, and then you will move forward. In which case, you can bring everything you wrote down and thought. They are their thoughts, not yours, and as such you don't have their experiences, life skill or value, so how could that person be impacting on your goals? Crazy to let them right? And let's get on with winning at work. A for action. The trouble with scrutinizing what everyone else is thinking is that you end up so absorbed in everyone else's thoughts, and there is no time to observe and explore your own, which means that you end up becoming rather their average. And people that win at work stay focused on what they want. They are not constantly consumed with the content of everyone else's head, and don't get confused with or not caring about other people. They do care about other people, but they don't become consumed with their thoughts. Do you want to be average of exceptional? Winning at work needs to stay focused, and if you want to beat this fear, then stay focused, because you quickly learn that there is no room for worrying about what everyone else is thinking. When you are concentrating on your own success, suddenly everyone else's thoughts stay just where they are, and you can get on with the winning at work. Look around you and what impacts on you. If you are super obsessed with other people's thoughts, this reinforced in an undesirable way by social media. It's your choice who you talk to online and what conversation you have. If you are really affected, you really need to phone your by your side and turn on all the time. Remember, if you are trying to break the negative habit, that means that you scrutinize what everyone else is thinking about you. And what are you agreeing to by reading your social media streams? Who can you trust? Someone with the way they think about something can drastically change just by changing our thoughts. Who could you talk to? And this is not to have a morning and berating session of the she said this and I think she mean this. This is to share your concern and get confidential, independent feedback, ideally from someone that you can trust to be a mentor and give advice. It can be surprising how a different viewpoint can flip your belief about what you are thinking on their head. And lastly, I cannot stress enough, stay focused on what you want, the goals and the ambition, and the thoughts you want in your head instead of the ones that you don't, and stay focused will protect your brain space from the negative thoughts. The result are, we have touched on the damage that allowing this fear to play out in your professional life can have. However, I can testify firsthand how easy it is to lose track of what your real goals are when you become consumed with things that quite often are not even there, and quite friendly even if they are there. So what? So what if someone does not like you? There's over 7 billion people on this planet and they're not all going to like you. You are they? A tougher skin may be needed because not everyone at work will be honest, kind, or value you for who you are and what you can do. And that is not your problem, that is theirs. It is by no accident that our social media stream are always with motivational messages and a reminder about how many times J.K. Rowling failed before she had a best-selling book on her hands, or how many prototypes Dyson made before he had one that worked. It's because success has a failure, and winning at work has tough times. And what if J.K. Rowling had listened to the publisher number 3 and given up and got a real job, or if Dyson had stopped wasting his money on his invention? And therefore, to get results, you need to accept that not all people will like you, and that their thoughts are just that, theirs, and not the property of you. When you can do this, you can stay on track, and when client was able to remember this and speak to competitors about what they did instead of making the assumption that they would be thinking you are here to steal their client and ideas. They actually love the idea that they could work together and take a bigger slice of the cake, and it led to 5 more similar contracts that they could never have considered had they kept on assuming that everyone else thinking of they were going to steal their business. Can you see how dangerous worrying about what others are thinking can be for your career? If you worry you have not created a strong enough plan of action, here it may be a good idea to go back and create a more powerful negative circle. To really feel the pain that you are causing in your own success, and check that your goal is strong enough. Does it really ensure to stay focused on the prize you want? And remember the bubble gum game. Sorry, but you just are not that interesting. What are people really thinking about you? Write it, run it, bind it, play this game to see if you can really move forward. If not, do you have to face a conversation, or is it enough to be able to accept that you are wasting your precious brain space on something that is detrimental to your success? Who can you rely on to keep you positively motivated? Who drags you down on social media? Just the wrong self-post can steer your brain straight back to the worries of what everyone else is thinking. So be mindful of your choice of online friends. Are they keeping you motivated and inspired, or damaging your success and mindset? If you take this action and remember the result that my client have seen, you too could see that you could increase your chance of winning at work just by choosing the dumb and cacophony of unhelpful thoughts loitering around in your head. That is scary and powerful, right?